Welcome to Pattern and Craft. I'm Courtney, and in today's video, I want to show you how to make this beautiful little edge stitch here. It works really well for lace, and this is how I came up with it. I was designing this lace scarf, and I wanted an edge stitch that had a dainty, delicate look to it and would open up the same as the lace does when I block this without it getting too tight. I wanted it to have about the same tension as the lace. And then I also learned that this is a great edge stitch for stockinette because it does sort of help prevent rolling and it just gives it a nice finish. From the side, you can see this edge stitch has sort of a braid effect and it's almost reversible. It looks very similar on the back as the front. It isn't exact, but it's pretty darn close to being a reversible edge stitch. So I'm going to show you how to work this. All right, now grab your yarn. You can use any yarn. This is Cotton Fair, and I'm using a 4mm needle. And this one is Cardiff Cashmere Classic, and I used a 3.75mm needle. Also, this is going to be a continental knitting tutorial. That is the style of knitting I do. And I also knit my pearls a little bit differently than the usual way. So just ignore that. And this will work for any knitting style as long as you just follow the directions. All right, so this stitch only uses the first 2 stitches when working in stockinette. You will need to add 2 stitches on either side for the edge stitch, so a total of 4 additional stitches. The front of the work is different from the back, so this edge stitch on the front is flipped on the back side. I'll explain that when we turn it over. For the front side of the work, we want to slip one with yarn and back purlwise, bring that yarn forward and purl the next stitch, and then put the yarn back and then just work regular stockinette or whatever pattern you're using. I don't recommend this edge stitch for something like garter or seed stitch or anything like that. It's best with stockinette or, like I showed before, with lace or some sort of similar stitch. Okay, I'm approaching the other side and all I'm going to do is continue to knit. So just knit all the stitches right to the end. So the 2 edge stitches on the end are just knit. Now we're going to work the other side. And for the other side, we'll turn our work and we're going to also slip, but this time with the yarn in front. So I'm going to bring my needle behind my yarn so it's at the front. I'm going to slip purlwise, and then I'm going to let that yarn fall to the back, and I'm going to knit the next stitch. Remember, on the front, we slipped with yarn and back and then purled. So on the back side of the work, we slip with yarn in front and we knit. Then we're going to switch back to purling and purl the rest of the stitches because I'm working stockinette. If you were working lace, you would work your lace pattern. But I would leave 1 column of stockinette at the edge, so don't work your lace all the way right up to the edge. You'll want to have 1 purl on the back side and 1 knit on the front side, separating your edge stitch from your lace pattern. And when we get to the last 2, we just go ahead and purl those as well. So it's pretty easy. You don't need to memorize what to do on the other side of the edge stitch. You just need to remember what to do at the very first 2 stitches and then just purl to the end on the back side of stockinette and then knit to the end on the front side of stockinette. So you only have to worry about those first 2 stitches, even though the last 2 stitches are technically part of the edge stitch. You just work them like regular stockinette. So we're on the front side again. I'm going to show you that one more time. We're going to slip one with yarn in back, but bring the yarn forward in between the two stitches to work a purl stitch just like you normally would, and then bring the yarn back as usual and then work your stockinette or lace or whatever pattern you're making. Then knit all the way to the end, knitting these last two stitches. All right, and then after we turn our work, then we're going to work that back side again. And remember, it's basically the reverse or the opposite of the front. So we're going to slip one with yarn in front and then knit, and then bring the yarn forward to do our reverse stockinette. Just purling all the way to the end and purling those last two stitches as well. And that's all there is to it. We get a beautiful edge stitch that works really well on stockinette, that doesn't take a lot of memorizing except for knowing what to do differently on the front and the back. One thing that helps me remember is we're gonna purl on the front side of our edge stitch and we're gonna knit on the back side, so it's the opposite of whatever the rest of the stitches are. And again, this edge is pretty stretchy, so if you need to block your lace to open it up, this edge stitch will also stretch with your knitting, and it won't pull tight at the edge or anything. I think it's just a really nice option. It's basically a slip stitch on one side and garter, one column of garter. So a slip stitch and a column of garter on both sides. And I think it's just a really beautiful option. So I wanted to share that with all of you. All right, that's the end of the tutorial. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you liked learning about this beautiful, delicate looking edge stitch that works well with stockinette or lace. Don't forget to like the video, comment if you have any questions, and subscribe to my channel if you would like to see more knitting tutorial, crochet tutorial, and other fiber craft content. I'm Pattern and Craft on Ravelry, Instagram, Etsy, and other social media, so come check me out there. I'll leave links in the description, as well as links to my pattern shops, and I'll see you next time. Happy crafting!